Hello and welcome to the third episode of Under the Scope with myself at Dom CSGO and at Dualism 97 of ESN Esports and RealSport101 respectively. How you doing?
Life is great. I mean, it's fine. I don't cry much. What about you?
I'm alright, honestly. I've had a decent week. Had a couple of highlights which, we'll bring up about 16 million times in the video. I'll try not to. Jacob Wolf. Follow me on Twitter. Sorry. I'm just going to tweet out the stream actually because I didn't schedule this one as we got it on off all time because there's a bit of a scheduling error, but here we are. So prepare yourself for a Twitter notification. So it's been a bit of a big week in Counter-Strike actually. Like, I didn't think there'd be much to talk about besides the update, but we've got plenty of stuff actually, which is dank. So what are we going to be starting off with? We are going to be starting off with Gambit releasing a Dren. What do you think about a Dren?
I think Dren is an interesting player, and I'm surprised that he has considering Gambit were meant to be getting out of CS like a while back now.
After New York.
It's taken them this long to properly release him because I think that other than Hobbit, he's the most obvious desired CIS player that they have.
Oh yeah. He's sort of like he was a major MVP for God's sake, and he really shone. Wait, is he actually?
No, I'm kidding. I just wanted to say it for the joke.
I was gonna say you just wanted to get Smiths in there somehow.
Oh, of course.
Oh well, yeah.
I mean, Happy is though. If we want to be serious.
Happy is. Who was the? I know France have won 2 majors. It was Cluj and Apoca. Kenny, yes.
Cluj and during that winter was Happy.
Cluj and winter. That's it.
So I don't really think we can. And also, so's Kirby.
So, yeah, but Adren, he's one of those. He's like well, he's like Hobbit in the way that once he started leading, his individual game has just plummeted ever since. He's never really recovered. I think Zeus's kind of like structured IGLing has really, really helped that team. And then when they're gone, you could see how bad they were. And now they've got Blade in as a coach who is a structured kind of leader. He does it by the book, does it the Russian way, and they've improved very much improved under him because that's the kind of environment that Gambit need to succeed. They needed a proper IGL though, and they just couldn't get one.
But then also, when you have an organisation that doesn't seem to have really decided what they're doing, or they're like, oh yeah, we're going to release the team, this is going to be your last event. Okay, actually, no, it's not going to be your last event, it's going to be...
Exactly, like, what's going on? So, releasing a Dren, do you think he should be ending up on Na'Vi?
Well, you see, I like Edward. So it is like,
you like Edward.
he would be the... No, okay. I like players that have history.
Yeah. Hello? I can't hear you right now.
What, me? No, I wasn't speaking.
Okay, you like it. What about Flamey though? Because he's a very inconsistent third fragger right now. Because I can definitely see that move coming, to be honest.
The thing with Flamey is that he seems to have been wanting to get out of Na'Vi, obviously back when the whole SK MIBR offer was there, and then when recently he kind of looked like he was trying to get out again. But I just think that Na'Vi don't seem that willing to let their players just go, even if it would be better for the team overall.
Yeah, I think Na'Vi are just sort of like, they're doing their own thing, aren't they? They don't really care about what the team needs. Where do you think, so any other destinations? Any EU teams maybe? Like, I don't know, Mouse?
I think that Mouse have learnt their lesson and that they should just bring in a player or name alone and just say, hey, this'll work, because it won't. Or at least they can't expect it to just instantly fit together by just bringing in somebody who is quote-unquote better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he should get on a team though. He's a solid player, as we've said. But it isn't like, as you say, it's not going to be an instant upgrade thing where you get a drone and it's like, oh yeah, but he used to be a support player back in the day, so it could work, you know. Could definitely work out. On any team, he could take any role, I think.
And he seems to be quite well liked. I mean, I've not really heard too many players say that they don't like him or anything.
Yeah, that's true. Next topic is going to be, here we go, this is the big one. DreamHack Open Winter 2018, which was won by Ents, but for you was won by Smiths.
He wasn't there. They sent the new team to DreamHack.
Right, did they? I've got my tournaments muddled up.
Oh gosh. They
had the old team. They had the old team at this tournament. I got the tournaments muddled up. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. Right, Ents have won DreamHack Winter. What's your thoughts on that?
Easy for Ents.
Easy for Ents, precisely.
Were we expecting anything else?
Sergey MVP once more, like.
He looked really thrilled as well. I love his enthusiasm that he just exudes from his sort of.
His positive attitude is so overwhelming.
He's just so Finnish, and I think that, you know, considering Alu is very much the god of Finland for CS, it is nice to have a little protege who is following in his very emotional footsteps.
I mean, Ali should have won a major with NIP. On Dust 2, the shot at Holofmeister at short, but it didn't work because hit Reg. Sorry, I'm not salty about that or anything. Well, I don't promise. But yeah, I mean, NIP for Ali was like the peak he's kind of really got, hasn't it? Like I wouldn't say he's been on a better team. You could argue FaZe, but FaZe were only really great once they got in other players around him, like with Guardian and Olofmeister. FaZe were a good team, but I think Ents are a better team than that FaZe lineup, to be honest. I think they've got a good mix of players in there who know how each other's played. They've got a good young IGL who's coming up with good strats, good ideas, and I really like the direction that they're going in. Actually, I think if they just keep grinding, I think maybe improve their results online, because they looked a bit shaky, lost a couple of online qualifiers, which they need to not be doing. They need to be getting into these lands to start getting invited to more.
I was going to say, that's the thing. I feel like for them, as long as they can then start getting invites, they can then remain pretty they can easily remain consistent enough to then get invited to equal tier sort of tournaments for a while, and then obviously the bigger tournaments. And I think for Cologne, the fact that they then did have a pretty good run completely out of nowhere, you do think, well, at first you can kind of say might be a fluke, like look at LDLC, but the fact that they can actually go to a tournament with names that on paper should easily have beaten them and still win, I think it is, as you say, they just need to keep grinding that.
Yeah, they just need to keep going, don't they, and just earn some invites, and hopefully we can have a true challenger to Astralis on our hands. And while I wouldn't make a change to Ents, just what if minus X7, because he's the entry fragger, is the only player that Sunny could replace? What would that team be like?
I've seen a lot of people say it, and I think I'll be honest, I am not exactly well versed in the Finnish scene and all the relationships, but was it Sunny who said that he would want to play on a Finnish? No, it was Alu. Alu said he wanted to play on a Finnish team. But
I think Sunny said he wants to as well.
Yeah,
like one day.
I didn't know whether I was. Yeah. And I think that then, while RealSport is still doing well, I don't think he would consider it, and I think that's probably a smart move. But I think if Mouse went on the decline,
and Ents were on the rise, then he should go for it.
And I think, if Ents had more consistency than Mouse at any point, he would be very sort of. It would be hard for him to justify not maybe giving it a chance, because as we've seen, like RealSport's very happy to let people play it, go on the bench, go to other teams, give it a go, and then come back when they realise that, you know, the grass isn't always green.
Is that aimed at all?
No, what, me, Stico, what? No, nothing. Talk about no one.
Alright. Because considering we kind of brought it up due to my own mistake, what about G2 getting eliminated now? At this Pro League Season 8 finals with Smiths having a map where he got a 1.54 HLTV rating. Sorry.
Do you know what? Like, for a team that didn't play for a month and kind of had already been playing tournaments with their new lineup and had players that
Those went well, didn't
they? But at least for Smiths, it's possible that he retires properly, depending on. Like he said in his
interview, didn't he?
He said in an interview with Max Mellett that he's kind of consider. It's like, oh, I'm going to take some time off for a few months. I'm going to stream. I'm just going to see how it is. But the potential there that this was his last tournament ever, or at least big tournament.
Yeah.
I think at least they did still manage to show some life. They didn't just die in the water instantly and just get absolutely wrecked.
They were like 6-15-13 down against Hull Roses, weren't they, or something?
Yeah, I know they had it was just an insane sort of comeback, and I think that
why not
as I
for
say,
the boys?
The fact that they could still show. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just the G2 way, though, isn't it? Like you show that promise just that little bit too late. Just like the super team at the major, you go, oh look, they're doing something. Oh, Shox's wrist is having problems. Oh, and you want Mixwell? Okay, right. Let's just give up with that.
Yeah. Now that your emotional heart pour about Smiths has concluded, how about we think about Vitality now? We're not going across the continent, we're just going across the country, who have added XQTZZZ as their coach. That wasn't a mouthful. And Zupa as their manager. They're a French casting duo who are like good friends with the players, aren't they? And they're just sort of like, why not?
I mean, why the French have such an aversion to bringing in actual coaches recently, I do not understand. It makes me feel stressed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that faculty who literally birthed the project and was like, alright, I'm out. I think there was just internal issues in the team. Like, he did not get on with someone. He did not get on.
No, I think that, but then I was going to say something, but because I don't really want to have that on record, I'm not going to say.
Oh, come on.
No.
All right, I won't press that matter. We'll move on from France because you're holding your tongue, so to speak.
No. It's just more of a. Let's just say that the French scene is known for the fact that it has big personalities, and I think that whether it's personality or ego, there is I think there's a very careful balance in France that over time it always tips one way or the other, and players and teams just fall apart because of that sort of quality.
Okay, so you're basically trying to tell me that at least one of the players on Vitality has a big ego, which is not an allegation I'm making.
No, I'm not saying that it's... No, I think because people always say that the French scene is very much about ego, which, to an extent, yeah. But I think that it's more about the fact that a lot of the players, especially the old... Like, okay, look, Vitality has 4 veteran players, so they've all been around for a while. They've all played with each other before. I think that, personality-wise, you're not necessarily going to bond instantly just because you're on a team together. And I think especially French, because, yeah, everybody has those personalities, and I think everybody knows the personalities like within that scene, so it is and the whole sort of drama that goes along with that. They're grown-ups, they could put it aside, but the minute that you have issues, you know that that's then going to be brought back up because it's still there, just bubbling beneath the surface.
Yeah. Well, do you think the Vitality will get torn apart by the same issue then? Or do you think Zyru is just going to go to like FaZe when Guardian retires or something? I know that's probably not going to happen, but
considering that Zywu seems very sort of
I don't know. I don't know.
I think.
Sorry.
I also think that for him, it would be good for him to spend some time in the French scene, if only to get the experience, but also you don't want to put him onto a team like a FaZe or a Mouse or any other international team that we want to just suggest. He then either doesn't particularly enjoy it or just gets burnt out, because teams like Mouse, who just never seem to skip events and grind, for a young player, while some will love that, some will be like, yeah, I love competing and I love doing that. Realistically, you want to ease yourself gradually into it somewhat so that you avoid that burnout. Because I think if we look at Rops, sure, Rops isn't, awful, like not by any stretch, but think about how much Mouse has played and think about how his form just now seems relatively unremarkable because for whatever reason. But I do think that huge strain on playing constantly it can just drive some players away.
Yeah, Mouse do not skip enough events. Look, Astrada's personified out. It's a good thing, haven't they? Like, going back to Zywoo though, I just had a bit of a thought. I just don't want him to stay in the French team for too long though, because I feel like one of the tragedies of Counter-Strike to me is Kenny S never leaving the French scene. Like at one point,
why would he? The thing is, I think that's what if actually France only had garbage tier teams, and every single time he was playing on a team, he was playing against crap teams. I'd totally agree with you. But realistically, France has had pretty solid teams up until maybe the last year. France has always had a top 5 or so team, or at least teams that can compete within that. So why would you leave to go somewhere where you're less comfortable? You have to, really have your language has to be strong and confident. Why would you leave?
True, I just feel like that. I feel like Kenny S could have in that period where right. Let's put it like this: like how many amazing French players have there been down the years? Right, I'm not going to give you a list, but you can think of them. That scene, that set of players, has won 2 majors, right? And we both know that is not enough for a scene the size of France's, with the quality of France's.
Okay, yeah, fine. France have won 2 majors, but they... Okay, so you had teams that were far more dominant and far stronger than them, pretty much consistently throughout. They were never taking majors off of Fnatic, so back, yeah, they won at Cluj, but that was after Fnatic had fallen off. And since then, they've had to be competing against the Astralises. And yet, fair enough, they were a big sort of problem for SK, because for some reason, just SK couldn't really conquer G2 in that sense. But they have always been competing against very strong teams. It's not like there's been an open field and a French team has just failed to make it because of a lack of talent. It has been that they have been competing in very strong fields while dealing with their own internal issues. And I think that 2 majors for a scene that has had such turbulence is actually pretty solid when you also consider the fact that it was the same core of players, but obviously the star elements were what got swapped around in between them.
That's true. There's a lot. I think, as you say, there's a lot of politics going on within the scene that sort of mean different combinations of players can't come together. So leaving really wouldn't really have served much purpose. I mean, especially at the time as well, EU teams weren't as commonplace. Like these mixed teams that you see are coming quite popular, international teams. That didn't happen as much back then, really, did they? Like,
no.
It's more of a modern fashion. Speaking of international, go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say, and also I was trying to remember whether it was. Anyway, I was looking at it. Also, I think it's important to also note that a lot of the French talent in the during the early few majors, they were split across 2 or 3 different teams. You didn't really have them all coming together. And at ESL One Cologne 2014, obviously you had LDLC, you had Epsilon, and you had Titan. Kenny was on Titan along with MBK, Existence Scream, Epsilon with Keo, SF, GMX, Shocks, and a name I can't pronounce, and then LDLC with Happy Maniac and Apex. So you also had a lot of that going on, where the talent wasn't all pulled. I think the Super Team had the best chance, but even then, they were in an era that was, that they themselves couldn't find consistency and weren't actually the team that they were on paper.
Well, that's bang on, isn't it, really? Speaking of international mixes, anyway, I'm sure you're ready on for this next exciting made in Brooklyn piece of news that Braxton Swag Pierce will be standing in for Fur at the upcoming event that they're playing in Blast Pro Series Lisbon. That means that MIBR's opening match against Cloud9 will be an NA MIBR against an EU Cloud9. Well, you couldn't script it, could you?
I'll be honest. I I have zero, like, personal interest in Cloud9
No.
at all, because
I like Golden.
I'm not American. Yeah, I was about to say, but the EU players have made me care about Cloud9 as a team, because yeah, I like Kiyoshima. Because
Sorry. I just yelped because LMBT liked my article to it, so he's read my article.
okay, anyway, I can't remember what I was saying.
Oh, I'm really sorry. You're talking about how you don't care about Cloud9 NA players. And
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. So I think I like the fact that obviously the Americans had their team and they got to win a major and they all got to feel very special. But I respect obviously Jack and London Spitfire, all of that. But I was never that personally invested. But
yeah,
I like the EU players that they have, and I do think the fact that Golden has just had such a crappy time of it.
it feels
Makes
so
me
horrible
feel
for him.
genuinely sad.
I feel horrible for him because his illness, I think Automatic said it on stream, it's a heart illness, so he can't really fly, which is why he's having to have loads of things standing in. Like, I just feel horrible for him because I think he's a really bright young IGL. I don't think Fnatic should have kicked him. I'll make that much clear. I think
Again, that was down to personality, wasn't it?
I think so. I mean,
They just for whatever reason didn't like him.
I just think that Golden, though, he got Fnatic, which is we've been struggling for ages, got them to a win at Katowice, and, well, WSG, but still, that's not as big a tournament, but you get my point, right? They started to win a couple of tournaments, they started to gain more confidence, they gave, FaZe, was the FaZe one where Guardian got the 1v5, was that with the Exist or Golden?
It must have been Golden because it was Katowice.
Katowice, yeah. Well, yeah, they won them out. What I'm on about? Yeah, but my point is, Fnatic developed under Golden's leadership. He's a young guy who has good knowledge about the game. I feel horrible for him, and I think he'll make Cloud9 a great team. There's no real NAIGLs you could get out there besides the DAPS, and I just don't think that's worth it. I don't even want to touch NRG. Stanislaw, Stanislaw failed on Liquid. He's not cut out for that tier of play. So
I mean, they could get Steel because in this current state, they're probably not going to make a major anyway.
Well, I just don't think Steel should still be banned, actually. But that's a whole other thing. What do you think about that as an off-the-side, quick little injection?
I think it's a tricky one because if there was a rule already in place, you go, okay, yeah, stick to it. But I think the fact that Valve have said, we are banning you for life, I feel like it is at least enough to put off future players, even if it does screw over players that were involved at the time. Yeah, exactly.
It's just cruel though, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it is. I think. Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it is a cruel and unjust punishment for what at the time wasn't that significant. But I do think you want to have a very strong precedent so that if a team tries to do it now and you ban them, you can say, well, look, at a far lower tier, or not lower tier, sorry, at a far lesser time, we had such strict punishments. What did you genuinely think was going to happen?
Well, yeah, I think that basically Valve just made examples of iBuyPower. They made it public and clear that if you are discovered to be throwing a match in professional Counter-Strike, you are gone forever. I think it is a deterrent, as you say, and I think that they just made an example of iBuyPower. I think if they had not thought of it being a deterrent, iBuyPower would not have been banned for life. I don't think they deserve to be banned for life.
I would say that I feel like maybe kind of now saying, okay, for the future it will be like a, let's say, 3 or 4 year ban, because actually for most players you're not coming back from that. If you're banned for 3 years, you're probably not gonna have continued to grind or tried to do anything if you're not actually that interested in the game. But if you're willing to keep up your level and still play and to still be part of the community and just work your way to still being able to even try to compete as a major, you almost think, okay, you get made an example of. Everybody knows what you've done. It's not like you've managed to get away scot-free because you've been banned, but at the same time,
there's a way forward.
And like I say, I think that 3 years is enough of a deterrent for most people.
I mean, think about how much of the career that takes off as well, considering how young retirement age is at CS. 3 years from, like, let's say, you won't really be 20, let's say like 21, 22, that takes you up to 24, 28, 29 is when you're going to be thinking that, so you lose a good section of your career. But the thing is, though, I feel like with the whole you are getting banned for life, yes, it's a deterrent, but let's say it was like a 3 or 4 year system, you've got to earn your credibility back as well, which is a good thing, because how are you going to be able to prove to people, like, swag with yourself to say, I was the kid, I made a mistake by agreeing to it, I was naive, my fault, my bad. Daze is having a lot harder time. He was supposedly the ringleader, so he's been sort of looking like, I'm the leader of this roster, I'm the captain, I decide what we do, and I've decided that we do this. It was a mistake, but, you know, I made that conscious decision, so I've got to take the fall, I've got to take the backlash.
And I think there's like a classic example there of, if you look at the people that were banned and you look at what they've all chosen to do in the time since they've been banned, especially before there was any announcement that they'd be unbanned from the other tournament organisers and everything, I think that also indicates who, or at least how you can maybe gauge bringing people back in, because Steel has just worked. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's never stopped, has he? I have a lot of respect for Steel.
Yeah, he's gone, do you know what? Yep, I threw a game, and yep, do you know what? It was really stupid, and actually, but I actually just love this game, and I just want to continue to do as well as I can within
he loves
those
the game,
limits.
doesn't he? I agree with that.
He didn't say, "Oh, I'm actually going to play a league," and then 2 months later go, "I don't want to play the league. It's really hard." Like, yeah, of course it's going to be hard. It's hard for the players that are still playing and haven't thrown any matches, and I think that work ethic,
all I'm saying
dedication is important.
He made 4-shot, A2Z, and like a couple of other trashers on Torch and MDL playoff team. He's making, well, Neptune's a bright talent. He's got Subrosa to perform on LAN. He's nurturing Wardell very well. He's got who's the fifth? Ghost. It's Wardell, Subrosa, Kusta, and Steel. Kusta's always been an alright player, but under Steel, he's had the best number of his. He has. You have to admit, he hasn't always been a meme. On CLG, he was alright. He got picked up into Liquid.
The problem is, though, he's a meme.
He failed at the top, but he under Steel, he's had the best numbers of his career, and he's not even AWPing most of the time. He double ups and sometimes picks up the AWP, but mostly he's just a rifler, and I think that it's just so rewarding to watch. And I feel like he's worked for his unban where they've got Dazed who just sort of like streams and that. And I'm not giving less credibility to Dazed, but I'd understand.
Dazed have done things that I would argue show that on a, I want to say personal, but that's the wrong word. But in terms of his maybe outlook or view of the world, he's not really changed, in the sense of the fact that he will still do weird and shady, you know, gambling site openings, like, I gambled my life savings and I won a Dragon Lore. Wow, like,
yeah,
you don't, and there's nothing wrong.
Steel hasn't done any of that, has he?
No, I was going to say there's nothing wrong with doing that. As he said, Fallen advertised the same website sponsored CS Summit, I think it was. Nobody was complaining about the fact that he was doing case openings. It was how he did them. And sorry, it wasn't case openings. It was skin gambling-y type.
Whatever. Yeah. Just general skin gambling.
Yeah, and I just think, in the same way, let's say you were accused of being like a molester. Let's go really hard with that. If you're accused of that, you're probably not taking up a job as a Santa Claus in a shopping centre where you're touching kids. Because you might say, no, I'm not doing it to be weird, but if you've already been accused of something, you have to understand how it looks to the outside world. And I think that he kind of, not pleads ignorance, but just kind of goes, well, I don't see what's wrong with that. I mean, it wasn't the thing I was doing before, and it's like, well, it's not, but
less bad than I was a few years. Yeah, maybe it's a bit of a lack of tact, but, you know.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad guy at all in terms
I agree. He's not
on a personal level.
Nothing against him personally, but I do.
No, I think he didn't really think things through.
Yeah.
Which seems to be a recurring theme.
Going back to Blast Pro Series Lisbon, we are going to tie this into well, obviously Golden's not going to be there. So Refresh, who has left Fragsters, will be standing in for Golden at the event. Now, what is your take on this?
I am very curious to see what happens.
Yeah,
in terms of, see, you can hear the skepticism in my voice, only because I think he's a solid young player. Don't get me wrong, but think about with Yugi going to Optic and how everyone went, oh my god, he's a young player. He's finally getting his chance to play at the top. He's going to be amazing. And then since there's not really, even on a consistent all Danish fantastic team, hasn't really been able to do much. And I think you're putting him into a team that is still relatively young and is kind of it has a leadership crisis because their leader is like unable to. Wait, is Golden leading? I assume Golden's leading.
Yeah, Golden's leading.
Yeah, so because Automatic is leading in his absence, isn't it? Something like that.
Is he?
To be honest,
I thought it would be Kia actually.
Oh, that makes. To be honest, I've been waiting for that dust to settle in the mess of Cloud9 for so long. I have no idea what they're doing.
We'll just wait to see how the cookie crumbles.
Precisely. So it is like whatever they're doing. So they're having a leadership crisis, and they're still a relatively young team. You've got a Swedish guy, a French guy, and 2 American dudes. So you're all trying to speak English, and you have only ever played on a Danish team.
It just sounds so funny when you say it. You got a Swede, you got a Frenchie, we got another Swede who's not there, so a Dane standing in for them. You got a couple of Americans. You're like, how is this gonna work? How is this gonna work? This can only end one.
Only ever played on Danish teams as well.
Exactly, I was about to say.
Not had that experience on an English. Fair enough. I'm not doubting that he can speak English. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's.
How to communicate efficiently within an international team at a world stage.
Precisely. And you're having to, if they're calling strats on the fly, and you're having to take an extra few seconds to go, okay, yeah, no, I did understand that, or yeah, I did hear that right, or wait, what was that? Oh, okay. That can be the difference between you getting a kill or doing the correct thing at the right time and just not. And I think that I would be very, very impressed, and I don't doubt that he would be capable of putting up a good showing. But I do think that any negative showing kind of has a big asterisk next to it.
Yeah, definitely. It's more understandable, though. I think Refresh is a great player, though. I think Optic or North need to be picking up the phone. But
what is Refresh? Is he a rifler?
He's a rifler, yeah, I think.
So then you kind of think maybe North.
Yeah.
Because if he was an AWPer, then I'd be like, bye Yugi, bye. Go back to Denmark.
Hard to kick Yugi. He's a nice bloke, and.
Well.
Oh, actually, I remember something I saw in a Discord chat. So I just remembered that.
Yeah.
So I'll rephrase that. Yugi's a very talented AWP Counter-Strike player.
Until you try and put any sort of pressure on him and he just can't really hit much.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know he can hit. Clearly not AWP shots.
Well, yeah, that's true. Right, I'm not being professional. That sounded really fake. C9, I think Refresh is a really good player. And I just oddly like this move. Something seems so right about Cloud9 having like, what do we do to solve our problems? Bring in a Scandinavian player. Yeah, have him be young as well. I just don't know. I have a good feeling about this move. I just feel like C9 will turn a couple of heads. I'm not saying they're going to win the event. I'm not saying they're going to have a proper run. I'm just saying they're going to turn a couple of heads. And Refresh will too, because he's 16. He's at the best age that you can ever be. Kappa, gotta love him.
I think, what was I was thinking about something until you then said the word Kappa. Oh yeah. I think it would be, in an ideal world, let's say that this was like I've never played Football Manager, so I'm not even going to pretend that it's a football like, let's say you can just move people wherever the hell you wanted, just for the sake of it. If you then swapped on MIBR, you took out Stewie and Tarek, you put Automatic and Rush there, and you just let Cloud9 go full EU, just because I have nowhere else to put the rest of them. Just try that, because that would be quite funny. because I think that they're far more naturally supportive players compared to Stewie and Tarek, that it could actually just be quite...
Yeah, I don't know, Astralis are just an absolute meme. What? I'm reading Twitter. I need to get off Twitter because this stuff's gone down. I'll cover it later on. Cloud9 are an absolute meme. Okay? So, speaking of absolute memes of the Counter-Strike scene, Peacemaker is the heroic coach again. This can only end one way. It's Peacemaker. Hello? Hello? Peacemaker? I think Discord has just died for everyone who's in on the stream, whatever. Okay, my Discord has just died. So I'm just restarting Discord. We're having a bit of technical issues here at the podcast. Is it working on my... Is it the program itself though? I think Discord itself has just gone down. Oh, for God's sake, I actually think Discord's gone down, you know. All systems operational, but it's not loading on my phone or on my computer. Yeah, Discord has died, so I don't really know what we're going to be able to do. I'm just going to play a bit, I don't know, little intersection in the yeah, so I think Discord has just broken, in which case I don't... Hang on, I think... I'm trying to get this to work, but it's not going to work. Discord isn't going to work. We're going to try and use a Steam voice call. If that doesn't work, then we're just going to cut short the podcast, for which I apologise profusely. Okay, we're going to be using Steam voice call. Let's just get this working. Hello. Can't hear you right now, by the way.
Oh, can you not?
There we go, you're back. Right.
Sweet.
Apology for that little cool middle section of the podcast, guys, but I can't remember where we were now. That's actually not me. Peacemaker staying on as a heroic coach. What do you think?
Oh, okay.
Nice food.
Peacemaker. Yeah, I was just decided I hadn't had dinner.
Oh dear.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, Peacemaker must just have some really incredible talent for teams to just really want him, but also want to get rid of him at the exact same time.
Do people think he's Brazilian, he's like Zeus? Is that actually what teams just think? He's going to have the same style.
Maybe that's like, they get confused. They just go, well, we want Zeus. Okay, he's a bit like Zeus. Yeah, because they're the same.
Do you reckon they send emails to Zeus and it's actually Peacemaker reply? Do you reckon Peacemaker's email is zeus1@gmail.com or something? And he's like, oh, this is how I get...
That would make so much sense.
Oh.
No, he basically, all of the other coaches in the scene, he's hacked into their emails, so that whenever they get messaged, yeah, so it's like, yeah, whoever you want Sonic? No, you want Peacemaker. He's like a guy at like a dodgy electronics shop, and you're like, oh, I'm looking for this item, and then they go, no, you want this cheap knockoff. I mean, brilliant version.
Well, to be fair, I do like my cheap knockoffs. I'm a bloody cheapskate myself. So, that being said, I'm not hiring bloody Peacemaker. Nice, Liquid taking a 3-1 lead on Dust 2. That's what I like to see. Sorry, pretty happy about that. Navi.
No, I'm just making the noises of choking so that you get used to it and, you know, later.
It was 3-0. We had 3 consecutive rounds on the T side. Twist is 4-1. Nitro's 1-4. Well, that's standard order resumed, isn't it? Simple's 3-2. Damn. Zeus is 0-3. Edward 1-3. Pretty nice. We're going to go on to our final topic now. This is a big topic. CSGO's big update. Free to play. Battle Royale. And there's a new bug out in the last 20 to 25 minutes while we've been recording. Do you want to hear what this bug is, Dualism?
I love a bug. Go for it.
Smokes are now invisible. / at least half of the smoke or whatever, parts of the smoke can be seen completely transparently.
Well, I mean, who let Astralis upload their configuration?
That's I was going to say.
The
Glaive is CSGO_dev. No, I'm joking. They do not cheat.
What do you mean? Obviously, they're blatant cheaters. Or no. Let me rephrase that.
Astralis
Somebody is a blatant cheater. No. Somebody is a blatant cheater, but obviously, I wasn't directly talking about Astralis. Quote from Nico.
Yeah. Oh, all these guys who are using smoke bugs to get kills 10 seconds after Zipnik uses smoke to get a kill. Please stop talking about us from Zipnik. I'm not on about you. What about that? Oh, hang on a minute, mate. Think about it though, like.
I don't understand Nico.
No. I think he's in a little world of his own. I think, but I think I love him for it. I respect that he's just like doing his own thing, and he doesn't really care what other people think. Obviously, that's a bad thing to have, but you know, it's Nico. You can't really take it too seriously, can you? He's like a smooth-faced Bosnian heartthrob in inverted commas, who is very good at Counter-Strike and is in-game leading FaZe Clan. So,
although. You know, are there many Bosnian other non-heartthrobs that are going on?
So what do you think about smokes being invisible? I think that's pretty rational.
I think it's great. I think that's brilliant. I mean, I love to spend $300, dollars on nothing, on just a nice little it just makes sound, doesn't it? Then essentially,
well,
just throwing an empty can.
It's like, have you seen the things where they throw the smoke grenades in like the ninja films and it fails? Whatever, that's just literally what CSGO is at the moment. So, about the update itself though, what do you think? What's your initial thoughts about the idea? Do you think it's a good idea, like, to do all these updates the way they have?
Yeah, do you know, whenever it's something that's just as simple as a new mode, I think that's always a positive because it's optional. It's not forcing anything onto anybody. So I think that's good. And the free-to-play thing, I think, in the long run, is positive. And the fact that Valve do seem to be on top of the whole cheating thing, I'm fine with. I think that was my only reservation, where I'm like, as long as they have a strong system to just ensure that it doesn't allow for easier cheating. As everyone keeps saying, the initial entry fee wasn't putting people off cheating, but at least there was something of a hurdle. But like I say, as long as it's the system's in place, I don't mind it.
I've actually played it. I've streamed it a bit, but I can't stream it too long because I get awful FPS because it's very well optimized. Sorry, and there's 18 players on that map, so that's hardly going to be good FPS, especially with my potato computer. But honestly, I think it, even with all the few little bugs it has and the few little nitty-gritty things that you could iron out in the next update or two, hotfix later, I think there's going to be a proper hotfix, hopefully. Hoping there's going to be a proper hotfix. It is a fun mode. Like, it's really different to other battle royales in the case. Instead of being 50 players or 100 players on a map, it's like 16 to 18 on a smaller map. There's more strategy with the tablet thing and the zones. It is different and it is better and it is slower. It isn't like It isn't like everyone's getting a rifle straight away. It isn't like everyone's just shooting each other. You don't get 10 kills again. There's no rubbish like that. It's a gradual strategical game. And that's what I really like about it. Go on, sorry.
You're saying that like that was by design. It was more because that if you tried to put any more players onto the map using that old ass engine, it would probably blow up people's PCs.
Oh, that's true. But even though that wasn't like intentional. Well, it probably wasn't intentional. Even though it wasn't intentional, I still think as long as they don't change it, I'm fine.
I don't know whether I should watch him play or give him. So we're ready to go.
Sorry about that. Just had a load of audio blow up that's going to be on the stream. But yeah, I think it's a good update. I think free to play is going to bring a lot of people to the game, and I'm excited. What do you think then? Hello? Can't hear you. Right, what's going on?
No, I agree.
Yeah. What do you think?
I can hear myself.
Okay, I can hear you now. What do you think? What would you do going forward though with CS? What's your changes that you're making going forward now?
I would probably do something to fix the whole ranking system. Finally try and do something with it to fix the fact that there is no real incentive to fix it at all.
True.
So right now, it doesn't matter whether you're a Gold Nova or a Master First Class. It makes no difference to your experience at all.
Yeah,
other than skill level, the obvious.
Well,
in terms of
the only way you can get actual,
you get no bonus for being a higher rank or anything.
Exactly. The only way to get actual so-called clout from being good at the game is going onto ESC. I'll face it. Like that's literally it. So I feel like I do agree with you. The thing that I'm changing now is I'm going straight into matchmaking. I'm going straight into the anti-cheat. And I'm going to say, right guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a new... Everyone's going to lose their ranks. Hear me out. Everyone's going to lose their ranks straight away. There's going to be a few ranks added, or the ranks renamed, redesigned, reshuffled, new different ranks, and there's going to be... We are now going to have seasons, right? There's going to be seasons where people, you know, lose your rank, you get your rank back, etc., etc. How it works in games like Overwatch, having an unranked MM too, which I think that you should have to have a unranked MM for everyone that's non-prime. Because I
think someone on Reddit suggested the same thing.
Yeah, an unranked MM for non-prime instead of them having non-prime competitive matchmaking. So you're going to fix that. 128 tick if Valve aren't going to do it. Valve aren't going to do it. Even with me on my potato PC, I'd welcome it. Frankly, I just think the game needs it. It isn't a selfish thing like, oh, I can't run it, I don't want it. Fact is, the game needs it. And then I think you should listen to the pros going forward.
At the same, no, but in the same.
Go on.
There's lag. I'm trying to talk, but it's obviously wrong.
Yeah, we're sorry about the lag.
In terms of, as you're saying, oh, with your potato PC, you'd still want the 128 FPS stuff. Not FPS, fucking tick rate. If you have that, while you're also trying to bring in a load of new players, do you not think that that is also gonna? You go, oh, this game looks fun, I'm going to play it. Oh, but the servers are too much and my PC melts.
True, but your PC isn't going to melt from running 128 tick over 64 tick. Hate to break it to you. People can run Face It on
I was just making it. It was
exaggeration, yeah. I know it was, but still, the fact is, I just think that it will help the game, and I feel like in the long run, if you want to get people away from ESCA and Face It and back into Valve matchmaking, then you need to start by saying, right, this is what they offer, but this is what we offer. I think they also need to offer better rewards. I think they need to give free cases and case keys for every, like, 5 wins or something. Every time you rank up, you get a case with a key or something. At the end of every season, you get, like, rank rewards. So everyone at this rank gets this reward. Bring down the price of skins a bit, which is good because they're going up too much. It's going to boom.
They're never going to do that.
Boom. Never going to do what? The MM reward? Oh, I know they won't, but they should.
Never happened. They already give up free drops.
I know, but the fact is you have to spend money to make money. Look, you're a left winger too. You understand this, right? You understand this. On the right wing, they like to not spend any money at all. On the left, we like to spend money because that makes money. It's the same ideology bringing into Counter-Strike. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, the way that Valve are going to get people to play the game is giving them an incentive, and while giving them an incentive might show like a show of weakness on their part, that will help the game and help them get people in. But yeah, I think it's a good update. Because, like, I think that it's going to help the game. It's going to bring people in. So yeah, I think on that note, we're going to I think we're going to cut short the stream. Actually, we're going to cut short the podcast. We're having a lot of technical issues tonight, to be honest. Dualism's mic and our network is just not going on together. Discord's had a bit of a night, and it's just not gone great. So thank you all very much for tuning in for episode 3 of Under the Scope. We'll hopefully be back next week. Goodbye.